You know who's a freaking awesome loan officer? Jason Malmstrom. If you've ever dealt with, talked to, questioned anything, this guy, you know you're going to get the answer, you're going to get the truth, and it's going to be right now when it happens. This guy is the most consistent loan officer I think I've ever known in my life. Every month, it makes no difference. He's going to close between 8 and 12 deals every month. Makes no difference. His real estate agents absolutely adore him. His co-workers, his admin absolutely adores him. There is no better quintessential loan officer in this country than Jason Malmstrom. Jason, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know it's the end of the month and I know you're trying to get stuff closed, but I appreciate you taking your time and doing this interview with me.
Absolutely, Johnny. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Nah, it's very important.
That was quite the intro there. I'm not 100% sure I can live up to all of that, but I appreciate it.
I know that you can. See, that's one thing that I've learned in this business is the people that are the top performers that truly are leaders in this industry, they never talk about it. They never admit it. They never tell people about it. The ones that tell people how great they are, those are usually the ones you need to be careful of, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's being quiet and consistent, I think, are the two things that I've learned in this industry, in this business, because, things change all the time. And, to be consistent, you got to work hard, put in your time, have the right people, the right focus, the right group, the right company behind you to help facilitate getting the business done. That really is the key component.
I agree. One thing that I can say is that we've known each other for about 7 years now, and you've been that same exact guy, no matter what, through thick and thin, crash, no crash, whatever, for that period of time. And so I will say that I have the knowledge to be able to say that about you, because you will not say it about yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing to pat your own back, but obviously it's always nice when you have somebody who's facilitating the business for you behind the scenes. And that really is the key component to quality delivery of files. I also say, garbage in, garbage out. It's one of those things that if you take a good loan application, if you put together the right file, if you have the right systems to get all of the information together faster, more efficiently, that's where you can make sure you're closing on time. You're communicating with, the real estate group that's part of the transaction. You're communicating with, your staff and the people who are actually getting the deal done for you. They understand and they know what's expected, deadlines to hit, and that way we can make sure that that deals get done. And that's how you get more business too.
One of the things that I laugh at and get a kick out of, to me, there's no difference between the end of the month, the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and it's because of the people that I'm surrounded by. So every once in a while, we've let people into the company that were what I call a barnstorm or fire starters. Everything is an emergency, and one of the things that I absolutely love about here is working with the true professionals like yourself, that the end of the month, it may be more stressful because there's more activity. There's people closing. There's people's, sanity on the line, but there's never any chaos. It's just loans go to closing, docs go out, money goes out, we close the loan, next one. And I actually need to thank each and every one of you guys because of the professionalism that you bring to this business. You make my life and your support staff's life so much easier that I thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And you know what? That's what being a professional is all about, is getting the job done the right way, making those around you look good as well, because ultimately, when you can do that, you're going to put yourself in a great position for success long term. And that, I think, really turns into the success factor that so many, loan officers and just in general people are looking for is, what is the thing that, makes you successful? It is being day in, day out consistent at what you do. A long time ago, I did a course with Dale Carnegie, and it was one of those courses that just teaches you to do the things that you don't, normally do. And one of the exercises, I was just talking about this the other day, with a real estate partner of mine, one of the exercises was name recognition and how to actually take names in a group of folks that you first meet. And that exercise is designed to help you be able to step into any conversation, remember somebody's name, and create a relationship with them by name recognition. That has led me to be able to, take that and expand that into my business. And, when you're out meeting people and you can call them by their name the second time you talk to them, they're like, wow, it's amazing. But because of that dedication, that consistency, I've been able to do that over the years. And that in itself has allowed me to continue to be, a consistent producer, even in good and bad times.
Before we jump into these questions, I want to hit on something real quick that you just pointed out. So you talked about going to this Dale Carnegie course.
Yeah.
One thing that I will tell you that makes you a professional above everybody else is the amount of education that you give yourself on your own dime and your own time, consistently learning about what's going on not only in your market, but in your world, that so many others out there, the people that I've seen that complain very rarely are ever advancing themselves. And it's something that I see from you, from your guys that are consistently realizing, one, that you need to learn. You have to continue to learn. You have to continue to hone your skills. And it's something that sets you guys in the field apart from any other loan officer out there.
You're right. And, it's continuous education. My quote to myself that I've always had, and, I can't tell you exactly where it came from, but the one that I use is that if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room. At a point in time, yeah, you should be. And those are your clients. Those are the people, when you're in that room, you're teaching, you're educating them. When you're with your real estate partners, your insurance, title, whatever, or other partners, you should be the expert. But if you're in a sphere, and I would say a mastermind group, and you're the smartest guy in that group, you're in the wrong group. You need to expand your horizons every single day. You need to learn something every single day, and you need to focus on building your business every single day. The only way to do that is to extend yourself out, grow, get out of your comfort zone, be in a position where you can learn something from somebody who has been there and has done it. Because if I haven't done it, I need to learn how, and that's who I'm going to go and see.
Agree. All right, let's dive into some of these questions.
All right, sounds good.
All right. I know the answer to this one, or at least my answer to this one, and we've already gone over some of it. What makes you stand out from other LOs?
For me, the thing that makes me stand out is just that. It's my willingness and I guess sometimes ability to go and educate myself and to be able to bring the new either technology or new component of, hey, this product just came out, this announcement just came out, this information just came out, and here's how it can affect you. Be able to go out, grab that information, bring that back to my partners and share it with them. Because ultimately, when I can bring that and I can share that with them, not only is it going to help them with their business, but I know in turn it's going to end up helping me with mine.
I will agree completely, and that was what I was hoping you were going to go over. I'd almost say that you are a true Southern soul. We've got a saying down here that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. There's a reason behind that.
Oh, yeah.
For the years of observation that I've done, having the benefit of working around you, is the fact that, like we talked about, that you're always learning. You listen and you actually implement. And that's one of the greatest things that I think about you, is that you actually implement and you make things happen. And it's regardless whether it's perfect or not perfect, there's going to be some activity done and we're going to get better at it.
Correct. Yep.
So what technology do you love using that's been provided to you by Hancock Mortgage Partners?
You know, I would say the number one product that's made a huge difference in my business is Pre-App 1003, and our app. So there's really two pieces in there, and they're really tied together. Pre-App 1003 is a great product, connected with, mortgageshots, as well as National Real Estate Pro Post, Brian Stevens, of course, Frank Ray. But that product, that we've been able to implement through Hancock, really saves time, and it puts us at an advantage, I think, to other companies, in the fact that we can do a pre-app. It allows clients, at their leisure, Saturday night, 10 o'clock, somebody's filling out my pre-app, and I can jump on that first thing on a Sunday, and give them a call, fill in any of the details, and then start the relationship. I don't necessarily always like, doing a full application or having the client do that. I like to have them do just a short version. Give me as much information as possible in a short period of time, because ultimately clients don't know normally how to fill in all that information. So if it's a short version, they give us, the basic information, and then allows me, my team, to go and create the relationship and, start, creating an environment where we can start building rapport, building an environment where, all right, now we can start walking down the path of talking about a mortgage plan, talking about what the next steps are, and really starting to lay out, the pieces of their puzzle. I look at it this, so many people, are, they just tell you everything that's going on. And immediately it's like, all right, well, I've got about 250 pieces of a 1,000-piece puzzle. This is my thing. I look at everyone as kind of a puzzle. It's one of those things that everybody has a different, life. Everything is, different. Everybody has things that happen. So because of that, I really think that my job is a puzzle master. How do I put the pieces of that puzzle together to paint a picture that somebody, whoever it might be, from an underwriting standpoint, would say, what, we feel good lending to you and providing you, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, because of the fact that this is the picture. This is what we're talking about. This is what we know, it looks like, and we're comfortable with that. So it's putting all of those pieces of the puzzle together. So it's asking the questions, who's your tax advisor? Who's your insurance agent? Who, what else is going on in your life? Getting all of those, components together is so valuable and so vital to putting together a good loan application and a good file, that it really is tantamount to the success of lending, in my opinion.
I will agree with you completely. One of the things that you just hit on that I want people to understand as they're watching this video is not every customer is the same. And I know that that's something that a lot of people assume, that every customer is the same. What I mean by that, and I want you to expand a little bit on it if you would, is not everybody out there is a W-2 wage earner. Not every W-2 wage earner conducts their business the same exact way. Some people have side jobs. Some people have businesses. Some people have tax write-offs. There's so much to it. So I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to let you answer this question. So by this time of the year, you've already closed 100 loans, right at it. So with that being said, out of the 100 loans, how many of those 100 were exactly the same?
Well, there was one, and that was the original one. It was the same as itself. Everyone else, they're all different. And that really is the key. And the hardest part that we have these days is, there's a couple of huge marketing machines that are out there that are spending millions and millions of dollars marketing, that, it's cookie cutter. It's, everybody is the same, and it's super easy and super simple. It's not. And that is really the key, where professionals who have been in this business for, a number of years truly understand, and who create an environment, I would think, more so like a financial advisor or financial planner almost, where we're truly doing the due diligence of understanding the client, putting together the right mortgage plan, having the right realtor, partners as well, to not just force a house on somebody, but to truly figure out, here's the fit, here's the needs, and let's do that needs analysis. The next 5, 7 years, whatever it might be, that's really what the key is. I mean, nobody can envision 30 years from now. I mean, sometimes people can't envision a year from now.
Amen.
So really what it is it's trying to, create an environment where we can see that 3 to 5 to 7 year window, give them that at least a fighting chance to truly understand their house, understand their ability to afford a house, and adding on some pieces that nobody really thinks about, which is, what do you do when you need maintenance? What happens to that first-time home buyer? And this is a question that comes up all the time. I love first-time home buyers, and I love the ability to use down payment assistance programs. But the key component for me to even look or entertain that as a potential option is that we need to talk about, what happens, what ifs. What happens if your furnace goes out? What happens if the heat goes out? It's not just to put somebody into a house just because they need a house. It's really helping to prepare them to own a home. Home ownership has costs. I don't care what anybody says.
Correct.
And if you've been through it, you know it. You lost a furnace, you got to buy a new one. You lost your dryer, you got to buy a new one. You lost your stove. Well, let me tell you, eating out every single day gets really expensive. So
I'm great, and I'm so thankful that you take that with you with every single one of your borrowers, because not only does it make you look like a superstar, but it makes our company look like a superstar in Duluth, Minnesota. There's no question. And I don't want to, that, you know what, I need to back that up. Not just Duluth, in the whole state of Minnesota, in every state that you're licensed in, everybody gets the same thing. So we're heading into fall and winter. And where you're at, which is about 60 miles north of Canada.
Yep, pretty much.
On one of the Great Lakes, you guys have pretty drastic winters.
We do.
Now, one thing that I've known and I've seen with you for years is that it really doesn't affect your business that dramatically. There is some changes, but it doesn't affect your business that dramatically. So what changes are you going to do to increase or to keep the same production, if not more, throughout the next quarter?
So, quarter 3 is coming to an end, and we're moving into quarter 4, and of course, and then first quarter 2019. So, the next 6 months basically is kind of what I'm projecting for right now. And really going into those next 2 quarters really starts now, and it's developing part of what we started in August, which is some of that training and continuing on the training. I found that educational training, not only for my referral partners, but also for clients that are out there looking at becoming first-time home buyers, looking at the potential for a cost of waiting, what the costs are associated with renting. Giving them that education is vital to them making the right decision and making it at the right time. Some people get into the market because they need a house. Some people get into it because they want a house. The reality is that we need to make sure that it's the right time, the right place, and the right reason. So that's where the educational component comes in for them. And for me to continue to grow and hit my goals that I've set for myself and for my team is really getting more education, for my clients, giving them that education that they need. So doing some different events. We've got a couple of marketing things going on, some fun stuff to obviously educate and as well as provide value and some fun for people. Those are really the things I'm going to do, moving into October, November, December. And then obviously January, February, March, those are, really kind of the coldest months, when you start talking about Minnesota and of course Duluth. So, what do? Well, we get out, we ski, we get out and we mingle. So, so many people just kind of hibernate during the winter, and it's really tough, I think, if you're going to try and do business in any market or of any type, that you hide, you go into hibernation. So I'm involved in a lot of different things, sports, my kids' sports, love to ski, love to fish, love to do things outdoors. So getting outdoors, mingling with people, trade shows. We've got a couple of trade shows coming up, participating in trade shows, getting the name out there and continuously. I look at it, from a marketing standpoint. The initial curve of getting to marketing is really, really expensive. And then you get to a plateau. And then once you get to that plateau and you've got a little bit of name recognition, what you can do is you can always do a little advertising, a little promotion, a little marketing to obviously increase your flow. Those are the things that we've been working on, with the Hancock name and Hancock brand here, to make sure that we are continuing, to grow the business and grow the market. We're also, trying to expand. We're expanding. We want to add a loan officer or two and a support staff. So that really is kind of the growth plan and growth market coming in for the next 6 months.
I don't think that I could have ever expected it to be that well put. Congratulations, because you have your game plan together like no other. And I hope people that are watching this right now pay attention to what it is that you just said, because there was not one moment in there that was about me. It was all about what we're doing for our community, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and ultimately, it can't be about me. It truly is about my clients, because when people truly understand that you are looking out for them and you're working for them, that's where your business takes a huge jump and a huge growth. And that's why we've seen that growth is, just our ability to continue to, deploy what we say we're going to. And that's a huge piece.
What do you love most about being a loan officer?
Absolutely nothing. No, I'm just kidding. It's the day in, day out changes, things that are so different every day. I was in a retail setting many years ago, before I got into the mortgage industry. And so my retail background really, I think, kind of prepared me to, put me in the forefront and say, you know what, I don't want to be here. And sometimes it's, it's the right job for the right person and it's the right fit for the right person. For me, it wasn't. I want to change. I'm a little ADD, I think, and I'm a little OCD when it comes to things. So, I'm kind of this weird kind of mix of a person. But for me, having something different every single day is really what drives me. And the different thing that happens every day is you get to talk to somebody different every single day. And because of that, that's the thing that's different. Everybody's different. So you add something new to your plate every day. You get to talk to somebody new. You get to reach out to new people. You get to create new relationships. It's a huge thing.
No, that's absolutely perfect. Exactly what I wanted to hear. It's the same reason I'm in this business. Same reason, and going back to the point to where you said not every job is for every person type deal. To me, when people ask me, I thank God that there are police officers. I respect them, but trust me, you don't want me to be a police officer, because I know that I would only be a police officer for a very short period of time, having to deal with some of the things that those guys have to deal with. So the mortgage business is what I've always loved.
Yeah, some of my best friends are police officers and law enforcement, and there's no way I could do what they do.
No.
So I'm thankful for them.
Now, this next question, I personally want to change it up a little bit, and I want you to talk to two specific people.
Okay.
So, do you have any advice or tips to help other loan officers? The two loan officers that I want you to give advice and tips to is I want you to give advice and tips to the loan officer who's been in the business for 10 years, 20 years. And I also want you to give a tip and advice to any loan officers that are new in the business, 12 months.
So one of the things that I would tell you is that the person that has been in the business 2 years, you said, correct?
10 years, 2 decades, something like that.
Or 2 months. So, the person that's been in the business for 10 years, we'll start there, because that is just shy of where I've been in there. I've been in the business now, we'll be going on 16 years at the end of this year. So if you've been in the business at least 10 years, one of the things that I found is that sometimes you get, I would say, stale ideas, stale positioning in how you're doing your business. And what you have to do is you have to change things up. You have to figure out a way to reinvent yourself a little, whether or not that's, spiffing up your brand, spiffing up your image, whatever it might be. Change something up. That change will allow you to put yourself in a position that maybe a relationship that you've had in the past just looked at you differently because it was a picture, an image, or whatever it might be. But then all of a sudden, with that little bit of a change, it's reignited that relationship, kickstarted a new relationship. Put yourself out there. It's one of those things that just allows you to do something that I think will help your business grow. Because you know what? Like any business, there's going to be ups and downs in that business. And if you can be consistent with your message, your focus, your growth model, it will help you continue to build that business. And even if you've been in the business 10 years, it doesn't matter. Change yourself, change your focus, change your mental game, because that's what business is all about. It's all about the mental game. For those who are younger in the business and who have the just getting started mentality, what is it that you need to do to put yourself out there to take your business to the next level? You need to be unwilling to stop. That is really what it is. In my opinion, you have to put yourself out there. You have to find the tools, the technology, the team, the company, everything that's out there that is available to you is there. You just need to focus on that, along with getting yourself outside the comfort zone. If you're sitting in a bank position and you're looking at, you're sitting behind the seat and you're just getting business handed to you, that's one thing. Eventually, that in my opinion, that gets old. I like the idea that I've got to go out, I've got to find relationships, I've got to build that business. That's what business building is all about. There's order takers, and then there's guys who are out there, guys and gals who are out there that are just killing it. And they're focused on creating business. When you create business, you're helping somebody else, and because you're helping somebody else, they're going to help you. That's really what it's all about. So focus, number one. Look at growth opportunities, number two, and put yourself out there, number three.
That was so perfectly said. I appreciate that. I wanted that answer from you, and that's exactly what I got. I wanted that answer. I think everybody watching should pay close attention, even rewind to this part and listen to those maybe over and over again for anybody who has tenure in this business and anybody who does not. One of the things that I know is that for anybody who wants to, they can actually reach out to Jason Malmstrom and maybe hook up with him on Facebook, something like that. And Jason will give you that same advice to anybody, no matter where you're at in life. Jason will help you and explain that to you and go over with you. So I appreciate that one.
Absolutely, man.
So here's a question that I wanted taken out of this. Your co-workers, Kelly Rice, Patrick Qualey, Kim Ritchie, would not let me take this out of here. I'm not real crazy about it. It sounds very self-serving to me, but I was told that it had to stay in here.
Okay.
What do you love most about working at Hancock Mortgage Partners?
The thing that I was looking for in a facilitator to obviously, get my business done was a company that had the right resources, the right capabilities, and made me feel like, there was a family and I had a voice. So many lenders, so many banks, so many institutions that are out there today. It truly is, about them. I mean, they don't have the focus of, here is how we can help you continue to grow and build your business. Here are the tools and technology that is, that's out there. Use it. Here's some training on it. Here's some insights and some direction as to, what we can do to help you. That's what Hancock has done for me. And, we have, group conversations all the time with, a number of folks across the country. And one of the things that continues to, be said, not only amongst us, but also amongst, others, internally as well as externally is, you guys are a family. A family that works together, that can communicate, that helps one another answer questions and problems. By no means do I have all the answers in every single one. No, but you know what? 20 heads answering the question probably is going to get you the answer. So pretty darn quick. So it's pretty nice to have those folks behind you that can obviously help answer those questions when it needs to be. So the thing I love most about working and being part of Hancock Mortgage is, the ability to have that team and that environment behind me.
I agree. That's one of the things every day of my life. I'm so thankful, and I've got the greatest coworkers there are in this country. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
What is one obstacle that you had to overcome as a loan officer that you'd like to share, or maybe give somebody some advice before they hit there, or when they hit that obstacle, what do they do?
One of the obstacles that I think is, it probably gets everybody at some point in time, and it's a sticky point even today, and it's reluctance, and it's reluctance in making that phone call, being the first guy to make the call instead of waiting. And that really is one of those things, because we're all, it doesn't matter how outgoing you are, you always have, I would say, call reluctance, and that call reluctance is, do I really need to do it? Can I do it tomorrow instead of today? And you put it off to tomorrow and it never gets done. So for me, it was the mindset that I needed to make sure that I got what I needed done. I needed to be ahead of the curve. I needed to make sure that, I'm communicating with the folks that need to be communicated with. I had a schedule, not behind. And that really is the key component to making sure that, continued success and growth is there, because the communication, and I would say almost over communication, is one of the things that I think so many people miss. And it's really valuable when you add it into your repertoire of things that you do every single day. So you put it on your to-do list every single day. That's mine. Number one thing, communicate.
That's to me, that's probably the most sound advice. Nobody likes giving bad news. Sometimes even good news is difficult to find a time, get that out there. But it is so important, and it is so necessary to do that. We always have this saying down here, if you've got to eat a frog, eat it first thing in the morning. Don't stare at it all day long.
Well, by the end of the day, it stinks. So, I'd eat it in the mornings.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Besides that, we do. And we as humans will come up with excuses why we can't, instead of just getting it done. So, no, great. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. This is a funny one. I always get a kick out of this one because I have never, in 24, almost 25 years in this business, met anybody who has answered this the way that maybe a child that wanted to be a police officer or a fireman or something, would expect.
I'm excited now.
Did you always want to be a mortgage loan officer? And if so, why? If no, what were you pursuing before you pursued this career?
Did I want to become a loan officer? Well, let's put it this way. No, that wasn't my first vision of what I wanted to do for a living.
Do you need to think about that a little longer?
No, I'm good. No, it was not my first love. Let's just say, I was pursuing. Actually, I was in telecom. Um, so I say actually, well, I mean, my background is banking. I started in banking, and then I moved into telecom. I was in telecom for about 7 years, and then jumped into mortgage industry. There was a loan officer that was helping me when I was building my house, um, and was talking to me and telling me that this great big company that we all know about there was the bee's knees, the best place, and you got to come here and you can make lots of money, and he was selling me the whole thing. Well, I closed my loan, and lo and behold, I was in charge of a, a group of telecom folks and everything else, and we were actually moving out west. Well, I just built this house, and at the time my wife was pregnant, and so it was one of those things where it was like, well, okay, probably isn't the best time for me to be moving anywhere. And so everybody else left, and telecom at that time was kind of at the turn, so it was kind of difficult to find a new telecom job. So I said, you know what, get back into banking. So I jumped into the mortgage business, and that's how I got into it. I started, reading, learning, understanding what was going on. First few loans that I wrote were refis. I mean, I had no idea what a refi was. I had just done a construction purchase, but figured it out. Had a pretty good branch manager at the time that helped walk me through it, and but he kind of put my feet to the fire and just said, "It's on you. Figure it out." About 6 months into it, after things had kind of cooled off a little bit, I finally went to training. So that was fun.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I know for a fact in this business is most of us learned baptism by fire.
It really is. Yeah, and especially in today's market. I mean, the purchase industry is really taking over. Anything over any refis. Obviously, folks are still refinancing, and a lot of my clients that have gone through and purchased, they're in the market to do something different. We do that analysis. We try and do that analysis once a year for them, just to make sure everything is still fit for them, and they know exactly what's going on. So a lot of people still are refinancing, even in a raising rate environment, they still have the opportunity to refinance. But today's purchase market, I mean, it really is trial by fire. I mean, we've got a number of programs, obviously, with us, that we can help new loan officers get into a position of understanding what are the basic steps of becoming a loan officer. And once they've gone through that, really it probably takes a good 20-30 hours of just that basic study. Then the next step is, of course, they've got to get in and do their 20 hours of pre-test work, and then go on, obviously, get their test. All the way through that, though, I mean, we try to have that conversation with them of understanding what are the next steps when you get done with this. That really helps to take away that trial by fire mentality, but there's still a lot of learning on the job, because ultimately, like I said, every day is different, everybody is different, so it doesn't matter. I still learn something new every single day.
Every day. So not only do you have to know how to sell, you have to know how to communicate. Then you have to know all of these agency guidelines within reason. Then you have to know what position does what job in this, and who you can talk to and who you can't talk to. So it is a very difficult career field to be dropped into. It is not one, in my opinion, that is so structured that on a daily basis you do A, B, and C.
Well, from a loan officer standpoint, no. But, if you've got the right system in place, where, 1 through 10, these are the things you absolutely have to do. Absolutely. I mean, you can get dropped in on that. But let me tell you, once you get to number 2, then you're going to go to number 7, then you're going to go back to number 3, and then you go to number 10, then you go to number 2. It just happens. Yep.
What is one piece of advice you would give to someone looking to purchase a home? And when you answer this question, I want you to answer it twofold. Actually, the first one, I want you to talk directly to a first-time home buyer that's either buying FHA or VA. The reason I want you to do that is because there's a misconception that you have to have 20% down to buy a home. And I want you to talk about that. The other one that I want you to talk about is that piece of advice to somebody looking to purchase a home is that move up buyer that has been in their starter home, let's say their first home, for a period of time, don't realize with what today's market has done for them that they can actually move up for no more money than they're probably paying right now for a mortgage, because the equity they have and the market for first-time home buyer houses is just almost non-existent. So if you could take that and put it together and give me your opinion.
Sure. So advice for, a first-time buyer in an FHA or VA environment. I'm going to use a VA environment as, because a lot of our business is veteran business. As you know, we were just out in Detroit this last weekend for military mortgage boot camp training, which is a phenomenal training program to obviously help us as military instructors for VA lending to come back and educate, again, our real estate partners, our clients, our veteran clients also on, the process and what actually goes into it and why VA loans are one of the best loans out there, in my opinion.
The best. The best.
The best. The best. Well, I like to put that qualifier in there because you never know who's listening. But anyway, in my opinion, it's the best. How's that? Anyway, what do we do in as a first-time buyer when it comes to that? What are the things to look for? Really, it's making sure that you're working with somebody who is an advocate for you, understanding the loan, the process, making sure that they're connected with the right real estate staff. There are still a number of realtors out there that feel, unfortunately, that VA loans are inferior loans to any other type of loan, and it's because, like you mentioned, they're not putting 20% down. Well, they've earned the right not to have to put that 20% down. And the common misconception is that, well, it's harder to get through underwriting. No, it's not. It's probably easier because you know what? On average, that military buyer has a higher credit score, has more availability of funds to put down, has a higher average income than most of the median, or it's higher than the median income in most, in all states, especially here in Minnesota. And it's just one of those things that makes you feel good because you can put somebody into a house that deserves it, that wants it, that has worked for it, that has helped us stay safe. It's a really good feeling. So if you're a first-time buyer and you think that you need 20% down, you don't. Other programs that are out there, absolutely. There's rural development programs, 100%, availability up to 100% financing, meaning the potential that they may not have to put anything down. So again, qualifying on that, FHA, usually it's 3.5% down. Even conventional, we have, designed some programs using conventional financing through Fannie and Freddie to, get people into homes with as little as 3% down. And we've also developed some models where we can work, and because people are concerned with sometimes mortgage insurance, well, we've designed some ideas and programs around the mortgage insurance where with as little as about 7 or 8% down, we can actually get rid of the monthly mortgage insurance as well. So some really unique things out there where, that 20% model just is not what it is, that everybody thinks that it should be. The second part of that question, the move-up buyer. What do we do for the move-up buyer? That equity position that you have today, right now, we are in a position where the equity that is out there is the highest amount of equity that has been available in the housing market since 2003, prior to 2003. So we're looking at almost 15, 16 years where the equity position is at a much greater level. So that helps us put us in a position where we can actually take the equity that's in that house, that first-time buyer house that they've been in for, within, let's say it's 5, 10 years, whatever it's been. The equity position is there. Take that, use that, apply it as a down payment on a brand new move-up house. And that move-up house allows us to obviously continue to move the market. The market really needs that house from 120 to 250,000. That's a good quality house. That's at least our market. I think it's pretty clear across the country that that's kind of the market that we need.
Yes.
And so that first time buyer 5-10 years ago really should be a move up second time buyer today. And because of that, that's going to start turning the market again and getting more product to flow out there. We're just in the process of launching, an agency group to do some calling, to actually reach out to, some of the past buyers in our database that are still in their homes and allow, maybe talk to them a little bit more about, here's an opportunity. Let's move you up. Let's get you to that next level. And, payment wise, they're probably going to be pretty close to what they're paying right now because of the equity position. We can use that as a down payment. So great opportunities that exist out there. I think, in today's market, even if rates go up a little bit, and I know everybody's super concerned about, where rates are going, it's really not about rate. No. It has nothing to do with rate. What it has to do with is, we need housing. We need you to move into a new home. Okay. And there are ways to make sure that your payment doesn't change. If the payment doesn't change, what does it matter about rate? Because you've only in the house for 5 or 7 years. Well, if you're thinking or planning for a 30-year component on that loan, the likelihood that you're in that loan for that loan is about 0.1%. The reality is that the average person moves every 4 to 6 years, or does something with their loan every 4 to 6 years. So long-term planning goes out the window. Again, like I mentioned way back earlier in this conversation, really it's a plan for the next 5 to 7 years. That's really what we're working on.
Agree. One of the things that I think that this industry is missing, you hit the nail on the head. People actually moving up. Here's part of the reason that, in my opinion, that needs to be done. So if one of the greatest components of wealth in this country is your home, and you have basically, if you break it down, you've got your first-time home buyers, you've got a move-up buyer, another move-up buyer. At some point, you have a move-down buyer where the household's shrinking. And if you do this correctly, then each time you're building a little more wealth. If this group that's staying in the first-time home that truly should be in their second or third move-up house by now, they're missing out on the wealth that they would be building as time gets on. Unfortunately, all of us are getting older. We need that wealth.
No.
We need that wealth. And this is one of the greatest ways that we as U.S. citizens can build that wealth for our future. And you hit it right on the head. I don't think people understand that they can truly, especially where the market is today, have that move up home for no more money than they're paying now, if even a little more.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. For a little bit more money, or sometimes in the same money, they can have a new house, a different house, and the key component really is that it allows the market to turn. And you have to look that every year we're adding more people to society. I mean, we have people that are moving into a market and people moving out. The growth that we're seeing in the population is it's really huge, and eventually we're going to have to do something about housing. But right now it's moving those first-time buyers into a second home, second buyers into a third home, and then by that time the average person is moving into the fourth home, which is really a downsized opportunity. That's about average. So if we use that as our numbers and we look across the country, we as loan officers, our realtor partners, as we start talking to folks, those are kind of the things that we're talking to them about as well.
Agree. The business is cyclical. All right. Here's my last question.
All right.
This is my Bryant Gumbel moment. This is where I try and get a tear out of you. This is where I bring something out of you that the audience may or may not know.
Wait, here, I'll just pour some water.
All right. So unfortunately, we live about 1,500 miles apart from each other, so I don't get to spend the time with you that I would like. But I do follow you on Facebook. One of the things that I know and that I admire most about you is the family man that you are and the father that you are, and how important your children are to you, because it seems to me from 1,500 miles away following you is at every given moment you're at somebody's game, you're at something, teaching, coaching, helping, carrying, taking. It struck me so I guess deep would be the right term, that you and I were talking here a few weeks ago, and I believe you were at some sporting event of your son's, getting ready to leave to take your daughter and drive 150 miles to go to a Taylor Swift concert, to then turn around and drive right back that same 150 miles. Because I asked you, are you staying overnight? And you said, no, you're just going to turn around and drive back. And it just struck me so deep, because I know what a family man you are. I know how important your kids are to you. I want you to tell me a little bit about that. Talk to me as the husband, as the father, and how important that is in your life, and how it's kind of directed you in your business life.
Well, I think you hit it right there. It's driven and directed my business. It's also probably sometimes why I work till midnight, but no, I'm just kidding. Um, my family is really important. I mean, my kids and my family, my wife, they're all very, very important to me. And they are my why. Yeah, you often ask yourself, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you want to do what you do? And to see the looks on their faces, to give them the opportunity to see what hard work can do, what a good upbringing will do, what a good focus will do. I'm not perfect by any means, and I never claim to be. But I will tell you that I try really, really hard at being a good dad, being a good husband, at bringing value to them. From a parent that works a lot to give them a lot, and give them opportunities that maybe I didn't have when I was a kid. I had great parents, a great upbringing. My parents were in education, so that's probably where I get the educational piece from, that I love education so much. My dad was a principal and my mom was a teacher, and just a great opportunity. And that's why I want to bring that to them. Coaching, I love to coach. Again, that's probably one of those things. My dad was a coach. I was a coach. I wanted to spend more time with my kids. And the one way that I thought it would be valuable is for me to help coach and train. And so I actually got certified as a soccer coach. I've got my certification. So I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be there for baseball. I wanted to be there for, horseback riding. I wanted to be there for dance. My daughter's a little bit older now, so she got out of dance. She still plays soccer, but she's full on into horseback riding. She loves Taylor Swift. So, I had an opportunity to grab some tickets from a friend of mine, and grab some tickets and went to the Taylor Swift concert. And yeah, I mean, I had something else going on the next day, so couldn't stay over. So it was drive down, take her to the concert, drive back. And the funny thing is that I had thrown my back out that day. So I drove down, my back was aching. I sat there in the concert, my back was aching. I drove back and back aching. Oh, it was a long weekend, but it was fun. It was worthwhile. Really, Johnny, I got to tell you, I mean, family is what drives me. Like I said, it's my why. It's why I do what I do. It's why I put my clients first, because ultimately I know that when I put my clients first, I can eventually make sure that my family is taken care of, and they're in a good position. They're happy and enjoy life. So they mean a lot to me, and I think it shows in my business too.
I will agree. Jason, I appreciate you doing this with me.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
After watching this video, you'll understand exactly why Jason Malmstrom is not only an awesome loan officer, Jason Malmstrom is an awesome human being. Everybody is better off by knowing Jason Malmstrom. I know myself personally and my coworkers are much better off because we have Jason Malmstrom in our family. Thank you and have a good one.